The film begins with a lady named Laura Peterson. She is devastated since her son Caleb, a soldier, died in the Afghanistan war. It's a difficult moment for her, but suddenly, out of nowhere, this guy named David Collins walks up. He used to be in the United States Army with Caleb and claims they were mates out there. David informs Laura that he is here due of Caleb's will. Caleb invited him to come over and tell his family how much he loves them. Laura understandably begins to cry when she receives this final note from her son. David feels horrible for making her cry, but Laura thanks him for relaying Caleb's message and says he can stay at their house for as long as he wants. So while Laura and David are speaking, Laura's daughter Anna arrives. She's leaving for work and bids her goodbyes to her mother. Laura introduces David to Anna before she departs. Now, let's switch scenes for a moment. Caleb's younger brother, Luke, is still in school. The poor boy has no pals, making him an easy target for bullies. Those cruel kids even threw his face into a school locker before sending him home. When Luke returns home, David, Caleb's friend, introduces himself and wants to get to know him better. David notices a little bruise on Luke's face and questions him about it, but Luke lies and claims he inadvertently struck himself while playing football. Laura's husband, Spencer, arrives home shortly after that. Like Laura, he is quite hospitable to David and allows him to stay at their home for as long as he wishes. Spencer and David have a long conversation, and Spencer opens up about her job issues. Meanwhile, Anna is off with her boyfriend, Zeke. She's informing David about what's been happening. The following day, something unexpected occurs. David shows up to Luke's school. He didn't trust Luke's account of the bruises on his face, so he asked Luke to point out the bullies who had been bothering him. Luke pointed to a bunch of unpleasant youngsters who had been harassing him. David and Luke pursue the thugs to a bar. At first, David tries to undermine their confidence by giving them extremely expensive drinks, but instead of being impressed, the bullies become enraged and spill the drinks on him. So David has to teach them a lesson and beats them. Following that, he utilizes his legal skills and possibly some money to persuade the bartender not to report what happened in the pub. Then he tells Luke to defend himself against the bullies. Now, let's go on to Anna and David. They're attending a Halloween party at one of Anna's friends' houses. Anna introduces David to her boyfriend, Zeke, and her friends, Kristen and Craig. David makes a terrific impression, so they all quickly become friends. Kristen's ex-boyfriend attends the party and causes a disturbance. He's been disrespectful to Kristen, so David steps in to help. He ends up defeating the guy and rescuing Kristen. Kristen is impressed by David's daring and invites him to her room for some fun. After speaking with Kristen, David talks with Craig. He asks Craig where he may get a gun. Craig wants to know why, but David simply explains that soldiers like guns. Craig knows someone who used to sell guns and offers to introduce David. He instructs David to get the money ready. After arranging the appointment with the gun dealer, David and Anna return home. On the way, Anna offers to create a mixed CD for David. The next day, Anna begins to experience strange events. She overhears David conversing on the phone, which makes her anxious. She begins to doubt David and resolves to investigate who the David Collins residing in her house is. First, she phones the military installation to verify David's identity. They vow to investigate and inform Anna. Meanwhile, word spreads to the real David Collins, and a private corporation called KPG, directed by Major Carver, creates a special forces squad and travels to the Peterson residence. It turns out that the guy living with them isn't the actual David Collins. He's a different person in disguise. Nobody understands why he's toying with the Petersons. Now, let's turn to David, who is attempting to purchase a rifle with the assistance of his pal Craig. They meet a guy Craig knows, and after showing him the money, the gun dealer shows David a variety of pistols to try out. But here's the twist. David didn't intend to acquire a gun. He kills both the gun dealer and Craig, and takes all of the firearms for himself. Return to Anna. She receives confirmation from the military installation that the David Collins at their residence is an imposter, since the real David Collins has died. Anna hurries to tell her parents, but they don't believe her, so she resolves to verify her suspicions by swiping David's phone and photographing the most recent contact list. In the midst of this, Anna receives a call from Zeke, who informs her that Craig has been murdered and framed for the crime. Meanwhile, Spencer's employer at work dies mysteriously, unexpectedly granting Spencer the promotion he has been seeking. In the evening, while the entire Peterson family, including David, prepares to eat, Anna tells her family about David Collins. But David works his charm and shows Laura and Spencer his soldier identity necklace, and they believe his narrative. Anna is getting agitated, but she is determined to show David's true colors. The next day, while dropping off Luke at school, she begs her younger brother to look through David's phone and see who he's been phoning. Meanwhile, David is helping Laura with the laundry when he unexpectedly goes inside to grab the rest of the clothing. Major Carver and his special forces arrive and begin questioning Laura about David. She informs them that he is in the house, and David, who had anticipated Carver's coming, starts an attack. It escalates into a gunfight between David and Carver's crew. Carver attempts to defend Laura, but she flees into the home. David is shot in the thigh, but he recovers and kills all of the special forces save for Carver. He discovers Laura cowering in the kitchen, perplexed about the people attempting to kill him. She questions him about what's going on, but David refuses to reveal the truth. With his cover revealed, he stabs Laura with a kitchen knife before fleeing. On the way, he is blinded by a cloud of dust and collides with Spencer, who is driving home. David does not waste time, shooting Spencer in the head. Carver, despite having a flat tire, arrives at the crash site, but David has already left. He discovers Spencer's lifeless body and asks a passing dude to lend him his car so he may drive Anna and Luke to safety before David arrives. Carver picks up Anna, who works in a restaurant. He tells her about her parents' deaths, which were caused by David. Carver reveals that David is a guinea pig in a military experiment, designed to kill anyone who threatens his identity. He's unlikely to stop, even if he wanted to. Anna, heartbroken by the news, telephones her younger brother, who is preparing for a Halloween party at school. Not long after Carver and Anna leave the restaurant, David arrives in a car. He is seeking for Anna and questions Kristen about her, but instead of responding, he shoots Kristen and then blows up the restaurant with a grenade since he believes she is acting suspiciously. Then David runs to the school to locate Luke. On the other hand, Carver and Anna arrive at Luke's school first and enter a Halloween haunted house that has been built up. That's where they finally find Luke, who is cleaning up. Anna gives Luke a strong hug, relieved to see her younger brother alive and healthy. But just when everything appears to be fine, all of the lights go out and ominous music begins to play. David is in the sound room, playing the compilation CD Anna had produced for him. He shut out the lights and intends to finish them right there. They obey Luke's teacher's instructions to flee, but David is prepared for this and confronts them, murdering Luke's teacher, Lee. Carver realizes it is time for a showdown and instructs Anna and Luke to find another route out while he confronts David. Despite being a major, Carver is unable to stop David, a trained soldier, who eventually kills him. Anna and Luke, on the other hand, find an exit, but David shackles it shut, keeping them inside. Anna chooses to confront David, and despite Luke's fear, she informs him that David is the one who murdered their parents, and she is out for retribution. So in the end, Luke listens to his sister and hides, clutching the knife David gave him just in case. To make a long tale short, Anna confronted David and fired Carver's gun at him, but David recovered and discreetly struck her from behind, stabbing her leg. Anna slumped to the floor and David attempted to strangle her. She struggled to point the rifle at David, but it misfired and damaged the lights, causing a fire. Luke, concerned about his sister, decided to step in and assist Anna. He stabbed David twice with the knife, releasing Anna from his clutches. Instead of being upset, David seemed to be proud of Luke, telling him he had done the right thing and even giving him a thumbs up before passing out. Before shortly, police, ambulances, and firefighters arrived at the school. Anna and Luke were rescued, but their experiences left them badly rattled. While sitting in the ambulance, they overheard the firefighters announce they had only discovered 2 bodies. Anna spotted one of the firefighters hobbling as they left. When he turned toward her, it was David. He dressed himself as a firefighter to avoid detection at the scene. So the lesson of the story is to always double-check your Halloween party guests for hidden soldiers in grenade and firefighting disguises. It's a scary world out there.